Episode 228.
Hello and welcome to Millennial Movie Talk, episode 200 and someone finish that off.
28.
28. I'm your host, Christian Bianchini. I'm joined by the beautiful Alexander Lamb.
Hello.
Michael Herman.
Hello.
And Braden Dixon.
Hello.
Now, let's talk about
Wrestling.
movies
No,
and wrestling.
Okay. Last week we had a lot to talk about. We went really, really long. This week we have a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it. Okay, what do we want to talk about first?
I got my Cobb's popcorn.
Movies?
I'm ready to go.
Let's jump in the wrestling ring, I think.
5 minutes in the ring. Here we go. We had WWE Survivor Series War Games.
Okay, Braden, if you're not Samantha Irving, you can't be doing that War Games stuff.
Yo,
Only Samantha Irving. Only Samantha Irving
so
should be the only one allowed to announce when War Games start. I got so disappointed when they changed it to the guy for the men's match.
For the second one. Oh, I hate when they... Why doesn't she just do the whole thing?
She should be the announcer on both brands and only her, because she's the girl.
Yeah. She's the best.
So, and she's also attractive.
Well, it helps. So,
Ricochet's
we had War Games. There was a lot of build up towards it. All these people teaming up against other people teaming up. That's like the whole deal of War Games. Alex, do you want to give us a very, very quick rundown summary of what we got?
Of what a War Games match is? I will. A War Games match, for those who don't know, is a match where you start with, it's traditionally a 5-on-5, but the women's match this pay-per-view, PLE, was a 4v4. So breaking the bond a little bit, but it's fine. Typically 2 people start in the ring, and then after 5 minutes, one competitor comes out of a cage for one team, and then 5 minutes later, then the next competitor comes out, and then after the first 2 competitors come out, it moves to 3-minute intervals. And then the match only officially starts when all 10 competitors are in the ring. So you can have a War Games match go for about 25 minutes, and it hasn't started yet because the last person hasn't entered. But normally they finish quickly after they begin.
These are also 2 rings side by side with a cage around,
which is very fun.
Very fun.
Because they do a lot of fun stuff on the part in between. Well, normally they put tables on there and put people through tables. But they haven't done that.
The crowd were cheering for tables so badly. They wanted them so bad. But we only got 2.
That's a War Games match. A lot of fun. The women's War Game match was really fun. You had Damage Control versus the team of Charlotte, Bianca, Becky, and Shotzi. Shotzi, man, I thought Shotzi was only on that team to take the pin, so that neither of the 3 greats could take the pin. But we saw that that was not the case because Damage Control won. A lot of fun spots. Io jumping off with the trash can over her body.
My god. That was my favorite moment. It was so good.
Charlotte doing a moonsault off the top of the cage and landing directly on Io Sky.
Yeah, that was impressive that it didn't hurt her.
That looked like it should have killed Io Sky.
And
then basically Bayley protecting everyone, taking a spear for Kairi Sane. I just want to say, Kairi, man, I would rather take a coup de grace from Finn any day of the week than a fucking shot with that Kairi was giving Shotzi with the lid of the trash can, because she hit Shotzi twice for that thing, and it looked like it fucking hurt. Like, you can't fake that shit. I take that any day over one of those trash can shots from her. Bayley ate the pin by getting a manhandle slam from the top of the ropes. Through a table, and Damage Control lost, which is going to set up on Friday the fallout Damage Control and Bayley getting kicked out, even though Bayley literally saved every one of her team and none of them helped her. But
constantly.
Moving on, then we had a Intercontinental Championship match between The Miz and Gunther. I really like the idea that we're kind of doing a Miz heel run, but he's still using all the Miz Miz face run, but we're doing all the classic Miz heel tactics. It works really well for MJF over at AEW. He is traditionally one of the best heels in the business, but he's been on a pretty big face run, but he doesn't change his personality. He's just, now people cheer for him. He's not the scumbag anymore. He's our scumbag. And
he's the people's scumbag.
The Miz for the longest time has just been
a heel.
Because his personality for so long was so easy to hate. But now he's part
yeah.
of the furniture. He's in the room and you cheer because he's there.
Yeah, so he went up against Gunther, and this was a big match because basically it's another Gunther title reign. And finally, we have one on the PLE.
Yeah.
And basically, it was Gunther taking every dirty trick in the book that the Miz was giving him and still prevailing and winning the match. So it was good. It was good just to see Miz get some love and Miz showcase that he can still go, which is good. He's not just good in the mic, he's good in the ring. And Gunther won again, like I said, so we got more time with Gunther as the champ. I don't see him dropping it until WrestleMania at this point. Because he won't be at Australia because his visa permits him not to leave the USA at the moment. So we know that he's not. Well, my if I was to book it, I'd have him at the chamber. I'd put him in the chamber with 5 other guys, and I'd have all 5 guys hit him with 5 finishes and then eliminate him, just to show that hey, he can lose, but it takes 5 people.
It takes a lot to him to lose.
So you can have him lose the championship but still look fucking tough.
Yeah.
That's
a
how
good way to do it.
That's how I'd book it. But he can't come to Australia, so boo. Anywho, then we had I believe it was Carlito. Well, what was meant to be Carlito versus Dragon Lee, but it got changed last minute.
I was so confused because all of a sudden it was like, and Dragon Lee's here, and I was like, wait, why is Dragon Lee here?
Clearly because they didn't want either Santos or Carlito to lose, because this would be Carlito's first match at a PLE, and you can't have him lose. But then we're also building up Santos as a formidable heel, so we can't have Santos lose. So what do? We fake an injury for Carlito, we put Dragon Lee in there, which I was much more happy about, because Dragon Lee can go, and Dragon Lee's been doing a lot of great work, and it was great to see him, even though the match was way too short. This match should have been a lot longer.
Yeah, I felt like I blinked and it
was 7 minutes long, the shortest match of the night.
Oh wow.
God.
And then we had the women's Santos one, as I said. Go Santos.
I'm enjoying him becoming a heel.
Santos works so much better as a heel because he's actually a great actor as well as wrestler. So, yes. Then we had Rhea versus Zoe Starks, which was a bit of fun. Zoe's been one of the only NXT call-ups this year that has proved more than ever that she can go in the ring and she does belong in the main roster. And her and Rhea had a pretty good match. But Rhea won, of course, because Rhea's not dropping this thing till fucking Mania. Because are you really going to have Rhea Ripley not be not
have the title in Australia?
In Australia? Absolutely not. Rhea's going to be in the chamber in Australia. Anyway, so Rhea won, and then we moved on to the men's War Games match, where we had the team of Judgment Day plus Drew McIntyre versus the team of Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and the returning Randy Orton. But all night they've been teasing, hey, Randy's not here yet. Is he coming? We don't know. So that was clearly a big tease because they wanted to build up and they wanted to keep the CM Punk chance going. Because, hey, if Randy's not here, maybe Punk's here, and Punk would be the 5th member of Team Cody. But anyway, so I thought this was
Chicago, so they were all about.
And we're in Chicago and home of CM Punk. So basically, this was a really cool match. It was really good. I wish we saw more of Drew and Jay because they had a storyline going into it, and they kind of had like maybe a minute of a stare down, a little bit of a fight, and then they disappeared.
Pushed to the side.
Yeah, that's what just happens in these big 5v5 matches.
There's a lot going on.
Highlights were Dom sitting in the cage and no one counting down for Dom, instead just booing him the whole time. This guy continues to have the biggest heat in WWE. And if I was Ray, I'd be very fucking proud of this kid. But yeah, then once it was time for the final competitor from Team Cody to come in, we waited, and we waited, and we waited. And then Rhea's music hit. She comes running down with the Money in the Bank briefcase because they just put Seth Rollins through a table and they were going to have Damian Priest cash in and pin Seth Rollins so he could get the championship. But as they're about to cash in, Randy Orton's music hits. He comes out and he just destroys it all over the shop.
He pops to no degree. Oh my God. He is a fucking beast out there.
Mm-hmm.
It was so entertaining. He's so quick with everything he does. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, he looked like he had a little bit of fatigue, but that's because he hadn't competed in a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years. 550 days, I believe it's been since he was injured on a SmackDown Friday night. So yeah, he went and he RKO'd Dom. Then they did the over the ropes DDTs, and then he RKO'd a falling midair JD McDonough from the top. And then Cody Rhodes hit the crossroads on Damian Priest, pin 1, 2, 3, and then that was the end of the match. And WWE, they put the highlights up, then they threw on the copyright logo, and then they threw on the press conference logo, and then they cut to a big wide shot of the arena, and everyone went, well, it's happening, because you don't cut to that big wide shot of the arena if CM Punk's
if
not
you're not
returning.
going to get the reaction on camera, yeah.
And then it hit the static, and then the Cult of Personality played, and out come Mr. Phil Brooks to a very excited Chicago arena.
Oh, Chicago were popping off.
Oh, they would pop.
They love their
Chicago,
hometown hero.
Chicago had just an overall good crowd that night. They were probably one of the best crowds that they do US shows at. Normally the US crowds are absolutely shit. Tonight in Tennessee, it had a pretty shit crowd. In Nashville, Tennessee.
I will shout out
Tennessee.
I will shout out very quickly as well. I actually watched a clip from the pre-show because Greg Miller of Kind of Funny, formerly of IGN, has his own WWE show, This Is Awesome. He popped up on the panel talk show pre-show and was chatting about Rhea and Z's match. Like how that was coming up and everything. And because Greg Miller's from Chicago, he was getting that crowd fired up. He was hilarious. He was so entertaining. And Booker T just laughing at him was great.
So yeah, CM Punk returned to WWE after a decade gone, after he was fired on his wedding day. And then he got fired after a backstage fight when at Wembley in AEW. So his last match in AEW was in England against Samoa Joe. And yeah, now he's back in WWE. They had him on the show tonight. They did a 3-hour Raw tonight like they always do. The first hour was ad-free, no ads. And then the last 2 hours was ads all the time, because they had to make up for all the ads they didn't play in the first hour. Pretty average Raw tonight, other than the fact that Randy had a match and was out, and then CM Punk had a 5-minute promo at the end. Very clearly, they put Punk at the end just to retain viewership for 3 hours.
Yeah, it checks out.
And because he just signed the contract on Saturday, the morning of Survivor Series, that he was officially coming back, they didn't really have much time to do anything. So, yeah.
That's fair.
Main takeaways is that there was this video circulating online of Seth Rollins absolutely losing his shit and having to be held back by Michael Cole and Corey Graves after the thing ended, which the world went, is this real? Is this fake? A lot of people thought it was actually real and Seth Rollins was unprofessional and crazy. If you know wrestling, you know that Seth Rollins is a workhorse. He is a company man and he's extremely professional. And this was clearly a work because they're clearly building to Mania Night 1 Seth v Punk, because these two fucking hate each other in real life. And so they are going to have one of the best matches of modern WWE. So I'm very excited for that, and I can't wait to see Punk and Rollins happen.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
There you go.
And
He's called it here first.
That was WWE.
That's WWE. That's more than 5 minutes in the ring. Let's do a quick little roundup, and then we'll get into the big heavy hitters of the week, which features Invincible, Napoleon, and Doctor Who.
Well.
I watched 2 Daniel Day-Lewis masterclasses. This guy can act. He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
I've heard he can do that.
And that
There's a few I've been running by you for a while, Alex. Like you gotta get into Daniel Day-Lewis. You don't know who Daniel Day-Lewis is. Come on.
Yeah, so I watched There Will Be Blood. And I watched Lincoln.
Hey.
The Abraham Lincoln biopic, kind of more like a moment in time of his life.
It's a Spielberg.
So
was
first
that a Spielberg joint?
Lincoln was Spielberg, and There Will Be Blood was Paul. I think it's Paul Thomas Anderson or it's Paul W.S. Anderson. Whichever one the better one is.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Paul W.S. Anderson does fucking the Resident Evil movies, and they suck. But Paul Thomas Anderson, who did There Will Be Blood News, who did Phantom Thread, which is Daniel Day-Lewis movie I'd seen prior to this, both great, but There Will Be Blood is fucking excellent. This guy can act very well, and it's kind of sad now that he retired, because we'll get no more Daniel Day-Lewis performances, but that's okay. He's given us a lot of. He's probably the best actor ever. It's him, Nicholson, or
Jared Leto.
I had a couple of mine.
The
Him,
Titanic Man.
Leo.
Titanic Man. Yep. Titanic Man. No.
I totally didn't just blank on Leonardo DiCaprio's name.
Very famous actor. Yeah, him, Nicholson, and I had someone else in mind before, but I totally gapped.
De Niro.
Oh, maybe De Niro.
Pacino, De Niro.
Pacino, De Niro, yeah.
Yeah, I was someone else. I gotta find who, but yeah, definitely Nicholson's up there. Nicholson.
Oh yeah,
and
especially if you're a
and
fan of the old
Day-Lewis.
Nicholson movies
Meryl
when he was a
Streep.
leading man. Meryl Streep. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love both this movie. I really enjoyed Lincoln much more than I thought I would enjoy Lincoln. I remember when it came out, and Lincoln came out in 2012. So a very uneducated Alex heard a lot of things from a very not the people that I listen to now about movies.
Very uneducated people.
We listen to very uneducated people, and they were like, "Lincoln's just a slog. It's boring." Do you know? I had in my mind that Lincoln was so long and boring that Lincoln was over 3 hours. This movie's 2.5 hours.
So the length of a normal film.
So that's interesting because obviously, it being set during the Civil War at the closing times of the Civil War, I'm very immersed in that era. So I very much enjoyed Lincoln. And it's a pleasant surprise to hear that a film guy, not a history guy, also enjoyed this one.
Well, I think you've made a history guy out of Alex, and we'll get to that in a sec. But
I knew a bit about history before. I did history up until year 12. Thank you.
He's played the Assassin's Creed games.
I played this.
Yeah, come on.
Sorry, the other person I was thinking of wasn't actually a actor. They're an actress.
Oh,
Frances McDormand was the one I was thinking of.
I think actor is used for both now.
I don't know, man. I'm looking here, and you know,
I don't think we say actress anymore. It's just actor.
There's a whole 2 categories for actresses now.
Actors, we're all actors.
I did see a very cool thing that the Soul Awards dropped the gendered side of one of their awards so that they could award it to Janelle Monáe, which I think is really cool. They changed it from the Lady of Soul Award to the Spirit of Soul Award, just so that they could give it to Janelle Monáe, which I really think is really sweet.
I mean, Alex, if you have a female doctor, is she a doctress?
Okay, well, this is 2 different industries, Christian. This is
Yeah,
not
I just thought that was a funny. I just thought that was you got
Christian, this is not the same.
Bus driveress.
Bus driveress, yeah. Pilotess. Waitress. Oh, wait a minute. There are exceptions to the rule.
Oh no. Anyway, so anywho, I was talking about Lincoln. What I really enjoyed about Lincoln was one, every fucking one's in this movie. Everyone who is someone now is in this movie. There is even like a 1 minute performance from Adam Driver in this movie.
Wow.
So Kylo Ren himself is in the movie. Also Kendall from Succession's in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it. Daniel Day-Lewis is in it.
What happened to Joseph Gordon-Levitt? I haven't seen him in anything in a long time.
He's been in stuff. Leave him alone. He was Robin.
He's been around.
Yeah, he was Robin. That was over a decade ago.
One of the HBO guys who I like. He's in The Terror and he's in Chernobyl.
Yes, Jared Harris.
Jared Harris. He's in this one.
Yeah, he's in the movie. He was in Glass Onion. He was the hourly dong.
Well,
I forgot about that.
He was also in Pinocchio. Oh no, he was in the bad Pinocchio.
Oh no.
He played Jiminy
that's
Cricket.
Okay, let's not talk about Joseph Gordon-Levitt's career anymore.
All right.
We're good.
All right. Hey, we did 500 Days to Summer. Give him a break. Anyway, so what I really loved about this movie was that I went in just thinking it was pretty much a Abraham Lincoln biopic where they covered a large span of his life, whereas this really wasn't. This really only covered the span of him trying to get slavery abolished and made illegal officially in the eyes of the law.
In the Constitution.
The Constitution, because it was made during wartime. It was made illegal, but their biggest worry was that as soon as wartime ends, this thing now that's over, and now it becomes legal again.
So presidential war powers.
Yeah.
He abolished slavery, but not everyone was happy with that.
So what I found really interesting was that they essentially stalled the end of the Civil War to get this passed through, because they found that a lot of people that would have voted yes in wartime, once they learned that this, like, voting yes to making it illegal wasn't going to be one of the main reasons to end the war, as soon as they found out like that's not going to be a consideration to end the war, that they would just be like, well, no, then we'd vote no. Like, if there wasn't a war, we'd vote no. So once
wild times.
Yeah, once he learned about that, then they were like, well, that's still the end of this war by sending these three they are Republican. These three, what are they called?
Yeah,
Redcoats.
Lincoln was a Republican.
Yeah, redcoats. That's what they are. That's what I'm thinking of, not Republican. Send the three main redcoats, pretty much, on a boat and stall them there until so that we can get this passed before the war ends, and we can keep people thinking that this is how to end the war. Am I right there, Chris?
Really wild.
Yeah, I think you're right. The most people in the North were for winning the war, but as soon as they found out that the war was pretty much over, they wanted to keep their slaves. A lot of them.
Look, this man, Chris put it perfectly to me when talking about this movie. Daniel Day-Lewis is not in this movie. They just got Abraham Lincoln.
It is actually Lincoln. Like it's unbelievable performance.
It's
unbelievable.
Stupid. It is stupidly good.
This was the one he went super method into, wasn't it?
He does it with all of them. That's why he had to quit acting, because it was getting too much for him.
Understandable.
That's why he made like a movie once every 4 years, because he'd just go crazy.
He wakes up at night and he thinks he's Lincoln.
Yeah. So yeah, he was great in this film. I thought Tommy Lee Jones was fucking awesome in this movie. I really enjoyed his performance. What I enjoyed about the movie was that clearly, like, this is a movie where they could have clearly made the characters stand on either side of the fence with what they want to do, but there wasn't. There was a lot of overlap, a lot of like, yes, we agree with you about this, but we're not really working with you with it. I found a lot of that was incorporated into the film. Like, it never felt like, oh, well, Lincoln and Tommy Lee Jones are taking this on together, like, as a dynamic duo. It never felt like that, even though they both wanted the same thing. They just both had different ways of obtaining that.
A really good movie showing the kind of internal politics of the party kind of dynamics.
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas they want to vote with their president, but they also have to kind of, use the carrot and the stick with these different senators or congressmen to get them to agree.
All of this being said, really enjoying Lincoln. It's a great time. It's a great historical flick. I hate to cut you guys off. There is a new movie that you two went and saw that I
haven't even talked about where There Will Be Blood yet. It's
a
podcast. We can talk about. We're here to talk about
movies. There will be blood if Alex doesn't get to talk about There Will Be Blood.
We'll talk about Napoleon and all the other shit later. We can talk about movies. We're here. We love movies.
Okay.
We're allowed to love movies.
I'm worried about Alex from a couple of weeks ago, who was like, "Let's have a tight 45-minute episode."
That's talking. Are we appeasing all of our two viewers? Is this what we're worried about? Go watch Lincoln, all right? And then after you finish watching Lincoln, pop on There Will Be Blood, or the other way. They're both great. There Will Be Blood. Like, I don't know which performance I like better, Chris, because they're so different, and he's so fucking good in these roles. I think There Will Be Blood I like better overall as a movie. I think, but they're both so different, but they're both so great.
Lincoln is this great story about Lincoln being this strong kind of prolific character, but There Will Be Blood is the tale of this kind of historical individual which has a will and has a drive and has a way about talking about oil.
Oil. My goodness, did this movie take me on a ride? There Will Be Blood. I thought everyone was great. I thought Paul Dano was great. Didn't realize we have two Paul Danos in the movie. We get double Dano. So watch out, Batman. There's two. Um, and yeah, what can I say about There Will Be Blood? That will be quick.
I'm an oil man. See,
he's an oil man.
Is that the thought? This is the my boy.
This is I've
Right.
abandoned my
I've
boy.
abandoned my child.
Abandoned my
Yeah,
boy.
okay.
Great scene, by the way. My goodness, with the context of that scene, awesome. But then what he does back to him at the end, oh my god! This is like, it's great. Where like basically, he needs the help of the church, and fucking Paul Dano's like, well, I'm gonna humiliate you in front of all these people, and like, you owe us money still. And then at the end, Paul Dano comes to Daniel Day-Lewis being like, let's do this. It's time to do this now. And Daniel Day-Lewis is like, nope. Nope. You see, I've been fucking you all these years.
Yeah, like you are so behind that you think you're ahead,
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Like,
And that
I
scene in
drink your
particular
milkshake.
is set
I
in
drink it up.
this 1800s bowling
Bowling
alley
alley.
in his mansion, and it is just the most amazing little timepiece. This wooden clad like bowling alley,
Mhm.
just
But
showing the excessive wealth of this character.
I love the relationship between him and his son, and their conversation at the end of the film, and how they end off where he's just like, yeah, you're adopted. There's not a single bit of me in you, and his son's just like, well, I'm glad there's none of me in you. None of you in me. So that was awesome. Just an incredible showcase of acting, character, and story, and production.
And production.
They used to make movies, man. They used to make them. They used to properly make movies. They used to go out and fucking do everything. And now we
They used
don't.
to
Now
act
we
them
stand.
too.
Now we fucking stand in front of a screen, and they go, "This all this shit's gonna be behind you." And they go, "Oh, okay." That's why we get shitty performances because they're not there.
No,
Because you get someone like
now-
Daniel Day.
Now we also get people not only in front of a screen, we also get people trying to drown their actors while they wear bubble suits.
What happened there?
Avatar.
Did they try? Yeah, Cameron did do that, didn't he?
Yeah,
He did
he
drown a
loves
few
trying to
people.
drown people.
But
In
you
his
know,
time.
like Avatar's not a movie. I'm sorry that I watch. And trust me, big supporter of Avatar here. There's just a lot of fun to see in the theater. But same thing with Avatar 2 happened with Avatar 1. Once it wasn't in the theater, who gave a fuck?
Yeah,
No one.
No.
Yes.
So they're great for the first weekend in the theater. And then you go see them again just to get in awe of them. But then there's so many different versions of the movie. You gotta go check out all the fucking 100 versions of the
Oh
movie.
my god.
Now,
But
if I can segue. No, okay. Okay.
please let me finish this. But when I watch Avatar, especially at home, it's not not like watching Count of Monte Cristo, not like watching There Will Be Blood, or even Lincoln, where I go, oh my god, they built these sets, they've got them all in costume. Avatar, I watch and go, you're all fucking animated. Like, I know there's a lot of money behind this, but I don't get that wow factor as in I do with like movies like I just mentioned. But another movie that didn't give me the wow factor, even though it attempted to do these things, but it still somehow looked like shit, was Napoleon.
Hey.
There we are.
There we go.
I was going to go for we've just spoken about these strong characters who are driven by will. And it's like, who does this remind you of? Someone from history, maybe. Someone that came from nothing and ended up emperor of almost majority of mainland Europe.
I just want to say, Chris, do you agree, though, that even though Napoleon clearly looked like there was a lot of money into the movie, not for a second at parts in this movie that I felt like only the small interiors where they clearly just had a set bill or like and modified something, like them, they felt like of its time and like they put effort into that. But in terms of like grand like areas, I never felt the realness in that.
Alex, it never stuck in one location or on one event long enough for you to tell what you were even looking at and to be impressed, to be amazed. The audience has to be kind of, following a character and following their story and, like involved in the kind of event that's being portrayed on screen. It doesn't work when you're watching a 3-hour highlight reel.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not even 3 hours, Chris. 2 hours and 38 minutes plus,
Well, this
and then
felt
including
long.
the credits.
I was bored. Alex was bored. My family was bored.
My butt hurt.
Damn.
Like it was a point. When you just like you're sitting there and you're like, wow, any other movie, and I wouldn't notice the slight uncomfortable thing of sitting in a chair for a while. This movie had me like, I might get up and go for a walk. Like,
Whoa.
I don't know.
You're getting restless.
I was
getting
ready to walk
restless.
out. I was like, if I was alone right now, I'd just be like, I can't watch any more of this.
Yeah, I felt
This-
Chris seething next to me in this movie.
This was the biggest wasted opportunity in a film I've ever seen. You have all these people excited about Napoleon, like who was this guy? You know, everyone's heard the name. Who was he? What did he do? The trailer, I think, brought up a lot of interest. A lot of people going, yeah, wait, like this sounds cool, you know? He rose up through the French Revolution. He crowned himself emperor of the French, you know? Built one of the biggest land empires ever known in mainland Europe. And we've got Whackin' Phoenix to portray him. This is going to be cool. We got Wacky Man. And instead of portraying him of this character of sheer will and drive, they portrayed him as a sniveling child with who threw tantrums, who cried, who was nervous, who was a cuckold.
Can I be honest, Chris?
Yeah.
I don't even think he threw tantrums in the movie. I think he just like moped.
He moped. See,
now, so would you say it's like written by someone who's trying to convince you that he's not all that? Like,
I think someone had
someone who dislikes him points.
I was going to work up to it, but yes, and there's a lot of people saying Ridley Scott is British. Okay, he hates Napoleon, like all British people do.
No,
this is a hit piece.
Be a bit more broad.
This is a hit piece.
They hate the French.
This is a diss track.
The French don't even like themselves.
This is a look at this. Like, yeah, look.
That's a quote from Ridley Scott, by the way, during press tours. The French don't even like themselves. Like,
yeah. There's a thing to be said here that certainly what Ridley Scott is all about is it's kind of an easy target to just be like, oh, it's just a movie. It's not a historical documentary. Like people are going to hate it just because it's got minor inaccuracies. But any historical inaccuracies aside, this movie sucks. There is no Whackin didn't show up. The performance is lacking. There's no
Whackin's lacking.
Wacky's lacking.
He just felt bored. He felt like he was bored, and he was sleepwalking through this movie.
You expect to see Napoleon, who is known as, like, again, one of the most willful people of all time, a workaholic. A staunch
biggest charisma and like.
Exactly.
He had the biggest dick. He walked into the room and he was the biggest man in the room.
To be scolding people, to command. He should walk in the room and everyone is too scared to talk. In this film, he's making chipmunk noises to Josephine.
Oh my god! There's a scene where he walks in and like Josephine's in there and she's like getting ready for something and like her handmaid is in there and everything and he's just sitting there going like that. He's just going to get it to be like, hey, I want to fuck. Like that's what.
Now there should have been a passionate, like very raunchy love portrayed between him and Josephine, but what they portrayed is more like the King Tommen in Game of Thrones and Lady Marjorie, like a 14-year-old that's getting to getting to sleep with a princess, and he's all overexcited and overdoing it.
I found that it was extremely ridiculous. Well, I thought his performance, like when I just went, okay, well this is stupid, was his delivery in his coronation. Where he basically says the line where he's like, I found the crown in a gutter and I picked it up with my sword and placed it upon my head. And like, he says that so boring,
it sounds like his voice is breaking.
Yeah. He says it like he doesn't
I picked
even
it up,
believe
like he's nervous to be talking in front of everyone.
Yeah. Like, you expect him to come in with gusto. He didn't have gusto. Napoleon needed gusto.
No gusto, no gravitas.
Yeah,
no je ne sais quoi.
This
no
man,
gravitas.
And after watching my homework that Christian provided me with, and the countless videos after
you went into this like suddenly super well read.
I went in being like, okay, well, everything Chris said about this guy, which we all know, Chris is a big Napoleon guy.
He's a big history buff.
Yeah, a big history guy. Napoleon's arguably his guy.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
Christian, I was lucky enough to have Christian transfer some of that passion towards me.
Which is a beautiful thing.
And I accepted it, I would say, Chris. I embraced the
Yeah,
passion.
yeah. Alex is messaging me and I'm like, wait a minute. You're watching Napoleon videos. What's happened?
Even I've caught myself watching a Napoleon video in the past week.
And, I embraced it. And then I was watching this movie and I was like, if I'm not liking this and if I'm bored, I can't imagine what's happening in the chair next to me because
As you look over and he's snoring, like in the picture.
You know, I went and a couple times throughout the film, I was scared to approach Chris in the movie, like just to make a comment to him. I was actually like, I'm not sure if he's mad at me or the movie. What was going on? But yeah,
there's some things to be said. Let's give it like it started strong because at the start of this film, I feel like we were sticking on a like more of a kind of linear story. We've got Napoleon, we've got a bit of the French Revolution, we're showing Napoleon's part, we're kind of following him a bit more slowly up until the Siege of Toulon, and then we had a believable scene that we see, a little battle. We see some incredible shock and some kind of horror of war. Napoleon's horse is shot from under him, and it's quite gory. There's like a real like, oh, there's a horror of war displayed here.
Basically, the horse takes a cannonball to the chest.
Yeah, and it's brutal.
And they show it.
Yeah, and there is not something like that in the rest of the entire film.
No, the only, and I'll say, Chris, there's only one sequence in the movie I would say I enjoyed, which is the rest of it I was just a passenger for, really. And that was the riot, him breaking up the riot. I actually enjoyed that scene.
Yes, another scene. But as again, this is part of this initial part of the movie where we're following a close story. After we get Toulon, then we're back with Napoleon in Paris, and he gets assigned to break up the royalist anti-revolution, if you will. And there's a brutal scene of case shot. That's this kind of a shotgun blast from a cannon hitting, the rioters, and it's brutal. We've got blood, we've got gore, we've got shock,
women missing legs,
and we feel Napoleon's this imposing character. Here he is going, yep, we're just gonna shoot him like brutally. We're gonna put down this riot, and then we move from that to jumping so quick, fast.
No mention of Italy.
No mention of Italy. We go to Egypt. It's very. We have a half-second shot of him shooting the pyramids.
I've heard about that scene. I did see a TikTok about that scene, and someone just being like, they were nowhere near the pyramids. Yeah,
so there was a battle fought with the pyramids on the horizon. The enemy formations were not lined up in front of the pyramids. Who knows what logistical nightmare it is to base your battle line with a massive pyramid behind you, but we won't get into that. Not so far-fetched. There's a long-running myth that it's Napoleon's engineers that shot the nose off the Sphinx, which I don't think is true, but that's been around.
That's very
not
fun.
so hard to believe that someone shot a cannon at a pyramid, but that's all we saw. 2 seconds, and then we're in Egypt. And then what do we see in Egypt? Napoleon just kind of there's like a long amount of time spent with Napoleon looking at a mummy, which gave absolutely nothing to the film. It made him seem like maybe a curious fellow. Napoleon committed various acts of atrocities in Egypt, ordering the death of tens of thousands of prisoners. These are some things we could have seen which might bring something to this character. Instead, we have the mummy shot, which makes him kind of just seem like a curious George over here looking at the mummy. We even in this bit, we find out Josephine's cheated on him. True story. He comes back to France. There's a bit of a confrontation between them. But again, it's just lacking. It's just like they jump over anything serious, and it's just played for comedy.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie was oddly comedic, and I think, like, purposefully, which did not work with the movie at all, in my opinion.
It's not the type of film I would expect to have a strong level of comedy in it.
No.
Yeah, I think audiences will follow this movie up to Egypt. That I certainly was, because again, we knew what was happening. And then for the rest of the movie, I can't imagine, if you don't know much about Napoleon and what he did, I can't imagine you have any idea what you're watching. Like, we are just jumping from place to place, from scene to scene, like a huge event, like the coronation. We jump in from the previous scene, which isn't about the coronation. We jump into the throne room. He says a line, and then we jump out of the throne room, and we're literally like 2 years later. And there's no accompanying text. It's just like bang, coronation, bang, next scene. And again, it becomes a highlight reel, and not a good one.
I was about to say, is it just like trying to highlight, hey, remember how he did this? Remember how he was here? Remember
like
this battle?
Whilst missing huge parts, important things.
It's like a bad band covering a bunch of better band's music for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then
we get the Austerlitz sequence, which the ice scene, very cool. Probably the most kind of theatrical part on the big screen. And the ice bit itself, a realistic retelling of what happened there, being Austrians running across the ice and Napoleon ordered the cannons to fire at them. The battle itself failed to kind of draw anything. Like it was just a mess. There was nothing to it. It failed to display his military genius. It failed to display any ruthlessness. Well, you wouldn't watch it and go like, whoa, he was a genius. Look at, he accomplished this masterpiece of maneuver and he won this battle against odds. You wouldn't even know the odds. I don't think that was even explained. Like,
they go into detail much of like anything he did, like just in France, like politics wise and like reform wise and stuff? Or did they just like, here's a battle, fight?
No, absolutely no scenes regarding his governorship of France. There's a scene, obviously, and in the earlier part, just after Egypt, we go to the military coup, which I felt like also failed to kind of explain anything. There was the quick famous scene of them conducting the coup where they had to arrest a bunch of politicians. And I feel like even that was kind of understated. You weren't going like, whoa, he's now in charge of France.
Was the coup when he literally ran out of the building?
Yeah, he ran out like a scared boy.
Yeah.
And then his brother basically did the work. And while him and his brother are kind of looking at each other and shrugging like, oop, hope this works. Not like a determined man who is using military power to seize control of the country.
So we all knew going into this that it was going to be a 4-hour cut or a bit over 4 hours. I think 4 hours, 10 minutes, coming to Apple TV later. Now, I would have been excited for that cut if the issue with the movie was there was clearly stuff missing in the editing room and we jumped to places too quickly. But unfortunately, I don't think this extra hour and a half is going to fix the Napoleon problem, which is Napoleon himself not acting like Napoleon.
No, we need to see this man, like you said, the reform. He was a reformer. He was a noble Corsican, not part of the French nobility or bourgeois kind of class. And he was certainly on the side of the peasants in the revolution. And he did do a lot of land reforms, a lot of things for the people of France.
Well, you kept saying that he was a man of the people.
He was a man of the people.
But in this movie, he was not.
Because he was the opposite of who had been ruling France for hundreds of years that, led to the French Revolution.
And they have this scene, and I understand what the scene's meant to convey, but it just doesn't work in the movie because we saw nothing leading up to it. And it's the same scene they showed in Waterloo, where he comes back from Elba, and the men greet him, and the people just rally around him and go, "We're with you. Let's go fucking kill the fat king."
The men are crying, "Our emperor's returned to us. He's here to save us from this new king."
No other part of the movie did anything to earn that.
They never show him addressing his soldiers, being around his soldiers. There's a famous moment in Egypt, in the real story, where he visited plague victims, and he made his men think he really cared about them. We didn't see that. We didn't see a ruthless side, like I said. We didn't see him in government. You could not believe that this character that was portrayed, if he was out on campaign for like 2 years, there's no way he would have held power in France, because no one would have been scared of him or afraid of him. Yeah, he was just empty. He was an empty man.
Would you say this is like Napoleon for the really uninterested people in the actual story of Napoleon?
I think the movie's just going to bore people who don't know anything about Napoleon too,
or confused.
They're going to be lost.
They're going to be lost. Okay. They're going to be confused.
Also, a film like this is a film like this aiming at people who don't know. Like, I don't know a normie person on the street who would be like, "Oh yeah, I'll go check out Napoleon."
Exactly. You have this sense where what was Ridley going for? It's a shitty romance It's a shitty historical biopic.
Battle scenes are cool, but there's not enough of them to make anything worth it. And
It's a
also,
shitty drama because there's no
so
drama.
you can't even rope people in with that.
No,
Like-
it's a shitty action movie. Ridley Scott, what is this film? What were you going for? I want to shake the man. I want to hold both his shoulders and shake him. He has lost his mind.
The only battle we get really extensive coverage and time to sit with is Waterloo, I would say, Chris. Correct?
I would say yes, and again, a ridiculous undertelling of the event. We get a tiny bit of Wellington, who brings something to the table at least. Wellington
he was
comes
the best
off
part
as
of
a
the
more
movie.
commanding and imposing character. They got a bit of that aristocratic edge showing. The sequence itself is just weird, where we've got like the Napoleon's tent 2 meters from the front line in the firing line. We've got Napoleon, who at this time was in his 40s, couldn't even ride a horse, and we've got Napoleon charging on the front lines on his horse, which is something. I mean, they failed to show the scale of Napoleon, who was a master logistics man who commanded in the back, commanded the movements of 100,000 men. And instead, we have this kind of very small scale. He's leading the charge. We get kind of 5 seconds of infantry squares, which was the only showing of like any actual Napoleonic kind of tactics. Even though in the context of the scene, it didn't make much sense. There was no formations in a day where the battles were completely reliant on formations and kind of morale. And we just had a bunch of angry mobs kind of just charging at each other with Napoleon in the firing line. Like, this is the beginning of kind of industrial warfare where, the air is filled with cannonballs and lead and Napoleon's on the front putting himself in the firing line. I don't think so. This is a character that was happy to have thousands of men die for him. Which again is part of that will and what makes him an interesting character. We didn't get that.
Well, it sounds like this film is a complete and utter disappointment. What'd you guys rate it?
Oh, I had it at a 2.5, but it's gone lower. I think maybe a 2 now.
I think I've gone from
Just
a 2
after
to a
talking about
1.
it?
A 1.
I've gone from a 2 out of 5 to a 1 out of 5, just from reading that everyone else that I've seen kind of agrees with me. Nothing here for historians, nothing here for your moviegoers. It's a complete and utter miss. The only thing you could understand is that Ridley Scott just set out to make a hit piece on Napoleon, which you could have done by making him seem like Hitler, which a lot of people would, argue that he was, and that's a good argument.
Thing that people do.
He definitely committed atrocities.
Do you reckon Ridley Scott was just banking on the fact that the name Napoleon would draw some people in?
I honestly, Michael, I have absolutely no clue what Ridley Scott was doing. This doesn't
make any business sense or anything.
No, the main focus is the romance.
She's great in it, by the way. I want to see that Josephine actress really good in the film and upstages. Phoenix in every one of the scenes.
I would say
Vanessa Kirby.
She was stunning in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
They failed to show like a passion between them even. Again, it was like I said, it was more like a 14-year-old child who's just keen to get with his hot wife. Like, it wasn't like they failed to show this passionate, everlasting love.
I never felt like they were in love.
The story of Napoleon and Josephine is timeless.
It's tale as old as time.
It is. It's meant to be one of these great romances for the times.
Beauty and the Beast.
She wasn't right for him, but Napoleon was crazy about her, and we didn't get that across.
So
too long. Just didn't care.
Too long. Didn't read. Napoleon sucks.
That's it.
You couldn't care less about anything you see because it jumps away and into it so quickly. I'll stop.
I feel I really feel like we could give Chris a hot mic and he'd go on for 2 hours.
Honestly, I'm kind of here for that.
You know
Chris,
what I
if you
really
do that in your own time, like, go for it.
You know what I would love, and I think we should do. This is a great idea, and I want to do it. I want to get Chris into a room, and I want to
Ridley Scott.
I want to record
Ridley Scott.
I actually want to record a commentary track with Chris and Napoleon.
Ooh.
Because
I would do that.
Yeah, but would
Is
you
that
do
the
it?
only way you would watch this film again?
Would you do the 4-hour cut, Chris? Would you commentate over the 4-hour cut?
First watch, and we can
Alright.
discuss that because I wouldn't watch it more than once.
All right, so I'll join you for that.
Yeah,
and we'll do
That's
the
great.
4-hour Napoleon commentary track.
That's fun.
Spoken, just there was a post on Reddit. Someone had a screen grab of Napoleon played by Rod Steiger, from the movie Waterloo, the epic 1970. And they said, "Where is this character in Ridley Scott's film?" And couldn't have said it better. If you want a movie, go watch Waterloo. Fantastic. Alex, as a non-history man, liked it. I think it sparked his interest.
He's a history man now.
Yeah.
But if you want to see a wet blanket named Napoleon, go see Napoleon.
Exactly. And go watch Gladiator if you want to see
How good's
Wacky
Gladiator?
Phoenix
How good
play
is
an
Gladiator?
emperor with actual that you could be scared of.
See,
like an
Ridley
emperor
Scott-
with
Ridley
and that
Scott
emperor
made-
is also portrayed as a kind of like a child, but he's still scary. He's still got gravitas.
He's got the Joffrey energy compared to the other one.
Ridley
Yes,
Scott
and
made
Joffrey
good
energy
movies,
works. We
alright?
didn't even get that.
I would argue, damn, he made The Last Duel, which was good. But before that, man, it was The Martian and then nothing for a long time, then The Last Duel. But yeah.
And admittedly, a lot of people didn't like The Last Duel.
Yeah, do you think he's losing in touch?
I wouldn't say, I just thought a lot of people didn't see it because it came out during the time where COVID and a lot of movies just got swept under the rug.
It came out
Yeah,
during
I
the
don't
time
think-
where COVID?
Look, I enjoy a historical piece. I don't think The Last Duel drew a lot of people, a lot of regular moviegoers in.
Well,
And
it was also-
Napoleon will not either.
It was also
I
a
think
lot
it
of
made some
rape
money
in The Last
its
Duel.
first weekend.
Yeah.
Sorry?
There's too much rape in The Last Duel too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it makes it pretty unpalatable for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Rape times 3.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
lot.
let's talk about something
Yeah.
positive, hey?
Something positive.
All
Big
right.
emperor
House of Gucci.
craziness. House of Gucci.
Which also directed by Ridley Scott.
Goddamn.
What can we... Invincible,
episode
yes.
4 of season 2. We now enter another time period where we won't have new Invincible weekly. But what a time it was.
I'll be quiet.
Alex, why would you be quiet during this sequence?
Well,
where we're gonna
because
talk
I know
about
what's going to
Invincible?
happen. I know what's going to
Well,
happen.
yeah,
I know where
but,
we're
like-
leading to.
Okay. Well, for
Alright, now
us who don't know what's going on, I was not expecting any of that.
I gotta say, I
Right.
called it with Omni-Man. I knew he had kind of changed. I knew
Found
there'd been
his
some
way.
personal change in him. I knew he wasn't ruling this new planet with an iron fist. I was like, something's different here.
So this
Yeah.
episode
No.
was the sad montage episode.
Oh my god, the sad
Yeah.
montage.
Oh,
This
Two.
Oh.
We got two.
Oh,
The
and
emotion
Debbie's, oh my
invoked.
god.
Bro, Debbie.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. So, Chris, go.
Debbie
There's
and
something to be said
what's his name?
Nolan.
for
No.
the
The agent. What's his name?
Dolan.
Donald.
Donald.
Gilbert.
Oh,
There's something to
man.
be
Gilbert.
said here. They, you can make something and you can just show something from A to B, but the level of filmmaking here, like the passion and the emotion that's invoked by the animators and the way this is set out. Donald specifically, his sequences, the music,
Oh.
the looking into the mirror, the whole entire ending sequence of him like working out what's going on.
Yeah.
Like you are with him, you are along for the ride.
look,
God
this
damn it. I wasn't ready
like
for that.
this
It's-
episode. This episode had
Not
like
the cancelled
great-
creator of Dilbert.
great action scenes, but this episode just like the emotion just through the entire thing.
God.
Yes. So because the
Yo.
opening, seeing Omni-Man's side of the recent kind of time frame.
Yep.
Whoa! Oh my god!
Oh,
Like,
Omni-Man
Just, like,
straight up.
sitting on a black hole.
Because
yeah.
they showed none of this in the comics. They didn't give us, we didn't get any bit of recap, or a little bit, not to this extent of what Nolan was doing in between the times.
Yep.
But Nolan was just about to kill himself by jumping into a black hole.
Yes.
That was
yeah.
wild.
Yep.
It was
Because-
just hovering on the edge.
Oh.
We have a man realizing what he's done to his son,
Mhm.
which obviously is what led that personal kind of moment he had.
Yep.
Learning to live with that. I think there was a great moment where we see his anger surface again, where he's
when he
angry
chokes
that
out Mark and
Yes.
all
Yeah.
the dead
is like, why
directions.
are you making me feel these things?
He's just like, why do I care about
why
them?
do I care?
That was my favorite part of the episode. It was such a good moment.
Excellent, like showing of he's gone through this change, but he's still confused. He doesn't
he
even
doesn't
understand
know how to process
to
anything.
deal with it. Yeah.
And we got
you
little-
got the whole
little
side of
brother.
Mark just not knowing how to react, and like half of it is just pure anger on his side as well.
Poor Mark.
Also,
I love the hug, and then the quick, as soon as the initial shock is over, the quick recalling of what's happened.
No, before the hug, I love the flinch at him.
done better than the comics too. In the comics,
Ooh.
Mark's kind of immediately just on board with this plan for Omni-Man. Here we get a lot of he's
constantly like, what the fuck
He's
are you
like,
doing?
You called Mama
you
Pet.
you can just see the internal conflict, because obviously he wants his dad, but
He wants his
We all
dad.
want
He
that.
wants to help people, but also he's been put through the ringer, and it's such a tough situation to be in. You get that feeling of like that really tough thing where a kid is trying to deal with a parent's divorce and stuff. Like there's so much happening. Only most people's parents don't commit genocide or anything.
You could feel that hug.
And you could feel that choke, and you could feel that punch, and that other punch,
Yeah.
that other punch, and that other punch, and
And I feel like as the hug's happening,
the
you
intestines.
yourself are remembering the train scene.
Oh,
And then Mark's straight away reflecting on those emotions.
what we got here? What we got?
What the fuck's happening here?
We got Bug Lad. There he is. That's the exact panel.
Yeah. And then
Goddamn.
ow.
Very interesting setting on this bug planet, learning a bit about how they work.
The Viltrumites fight.
Oh,
Oh my
fuck
gosh.
me.
Timing, Alex.
just as he look
Oh no, we lost them both.
Oh no!
Oh,
Just
well,
as Michael's about.
again, Mark.
Oh, he's back. Oh, look at that hug.
Oh, that hug.
Goddamn.
Mark, the thing, Mark's internal conflict doesn't just end with his feelings towards his dad. It's his feelings towards hurting people, because Nolan has to be like, you're gonna fucking die if you don't kill them.
Yes.
And he still has the hesitation. He's still
Oh
he's
yeah,
right,
he gets got.
He gets got.
There was some really good parallels I've seen drawn between Omni-Man when he's scolding Mark back on Earth, after he's punched his teeth out, saying why don't you think, why don't you realize? And then we got the same thing here. Mark's on the ground, and Omni-Man saying, you need to fight harder. There's a reverse of, instead of
Why are you holding back?
Exactly, he's helping him, but he's still kind of scolding him in the same fashion.
Yeah.
He's just like, if you don't try to kill them, you will die.
They'll kill you.
Yeah, they're
everyone
fighting,
will die.
Their
fighting
one
for
thing
real.
to do is kill you.
And you're holding back.
They're not going to give up until they're dead either. So it's not like all right, you got me, you won. I'll leave you alone.
I was not expecting Intestine Dude to still be alive.
Oh, yeah.
holding
When you
his-
kill someone.
holding his guts with his
With his
torn
skirt?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Not even that. It's the sound of the back cracking as he kicks
Oh,
it.
that's horrid.
All of our
We
death
got a
directions.
bit of
That's a cool sound.
we saw a bit of the Viltrumites beating up Alan, in the previous episode. It's our first kind of look at other Viltrumites, and they seem pretty brutal. This episode delivered that same thing. We're really seeing these people and what they're about,
All right.
like the sheer determination.
Are you ready for the panel?
Here we
The
go.
panel.
Which the show nailed while giving all those still shots of the battle. Because
Oh my god, it felt like a comic. It was great. Oh wow, look at that. Wow,
Yeah.
they really encapsulated. They did that exact panel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. And it even slid across the screen as well.
Mhm.
That's
Cool.
good on them.
So
See,
Yeah,
they,
we
they
just-
love the original while adapting it and improving upon it.
Yeah.
I love that about it.
Yeah, especially with Donald, because I think Alex has said before, Donald
look at him holding his
is not
guts in.
confused by his situation
Oh my god, it's so
in the
crazy.
comics.
Yeah, in the comics, Donald straight up knows what's going on.
Which
And we
I
don't get that amazing
imagine
confronting
would be
scene.
so blasé. Whereas the show is like, oh my god, Donald is going through everything, and they give him like what 30 seconds at a time, and everyone is so invested in him.
Him watching the videos of his demise and just the shock and the sound he makes, it's like a real good, like, like he, just shocked to the core, like doesn't know what he's seeing.
And what happens
then, of course, the mirror scene with the music.
What happens when he stabs his arm, Chris?
Oh god.
We have him stab his arm and think, oh, I'm bleeding. This is normal. And then he's slow draw into the knife point, which is bent because he is a robot.
Now, yeah. That's what that meant, right?
He's made of steel.
We all picked up the fact that he was cybernetic in this one, right?
He's a man of steel, one would say.
So, in the comic book, we only really find out about this because they... do we all remember Rick from season 1? Williams?
Of The Walking Dead.
No, Williams' mate.
Rick and Morty. Yes, the mad scientist, very popular.
Cancelled.
The guy that gets turned into a robot man at the end.
This is his friend's lover.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
So
What's
in the
his
comic
friend's
book,
name?
They name dropped him in this most recent.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah.
So Williams.
Williams love.
Yeah, love. We only really find out about Donald when Donald's consoling him. In the comic, because Donald's like, look, I'm also robot.
I'm also robot.
He's just like, it gets better.
It gets better.
So that's
there's firmware updates.
That's what we learn. That's really all we know from the comic, and that's when we find out Donald knows exactly what's going on. Like, there's none of this mystery.
Good Eve episode. Great fight with Eve.
Oh, they're doing Eve good too, man. They're Eve and Debbie, man. Like, they are absolutely.
They're at rock bottom.
They're cooking.
Oh my god, they are.
I gotta say, there's something to be said, like with Eve. She's holding back because, like, come on, her powers are OP. Like from watching the Eve special.
Wait,
this
wait.
Scene,
okay, we have not seen the full power of. She is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
When she was struggling in the bridge fight, I was kind of like, Eve can handle this.
She turns atoms into other atoms.
Exactly. Special remove a whole section of ground, so the guy can fall through. I'm like, Eve, just build a fucking case around this guy.
The thing, all she needs is other atoms. So she just needs to grab something else and turn that into something else. That's all she needs. She
could wreck that guy in a heartbeat.
But she's toying with him because she's fucking just
mad. She's angry.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
She's fucking happy that he picked a fight.
Yeah. And she's like, you today of all days. Or this week or whatever.
I love it.
She needs a little mark, maybe.
Ooh.
Team Eve? What do you guys? You guys Team Eve?
I can't talk.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, who? Okay, you two. Team Eve, Team Amber.
I mean, Amber's great and all, but
I'm Team Eve.
But
Amber, the problem with Amber is that Amber's only can relate to one side of his life, whereas Eve can relate to both.
Yeah.
Which is why Team Eve. Eve's my favorite character in the whole comic.
She's excellent.
She's so cool.
She's so fucking cool. And I can't wait till later. That's what I'm gonna say.
But we don't have any time of when they could be coming back at all.
They think maybe there's rumors that January that we're getting a short break for the holidays. Because they claim that apparently a lot of stuff. I think it'd be really cool if we get a Rexplode special in between.
A Rexplode.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Because I want a Rexplode Christmas special.
Yeah, because Rexplode, give us a Invincible Origins Rexplode issue.
Yeah.
Episode, because that shit's gonna be great. Because that shit is great.
I mean, the only thing close I'd like to that is a robot origin.
The issue with Robot is his origin is, and this has been said in the show.
It's so not depressing.
He's just in that tube. That's his origin. Yeah.
We've seen his.
He was born deformed.
Where did he start?
His origin.
Where did he start?
He came out all fucked up, apparently.
He came out
Yeah,
fucked
he
up.
was- he was born
Where did
fucked
he
up.
gain this? How did he gain this power around
True.
the, about the world around him? Able to manipulate things, through his genius.
I don't think it's a fun nor. It feels like too complicated a story to try and make actually work in 2023.
We can't
That's
say
true.
we can't be like that's not do the robot one because it'd be too dark. If they're gonna do Rexplode, we're getting dark enough.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Rexplode's not going to have a good childhood.
No, and Redsplode's already said in the show. He's like, and I already had a fucked up childhood. He's just like, that's gonna be sick. Back to this episode though. Continuing, like we said, just showing that Viltrumites, they're fucking insane.
Oh my god, they're crazy.
Oh,
the fact that they
Krieg.
just leave him bleeding out alive on that planet and being like, "Cool, you lived. Congrats.
How good
You're part of the team."
Oh,
you're not getting any help, but
he's just like,
we won't kill you.
We're going to be back soon. If you haven't prepared for Viltrum takeover, we're going to kill millions.
Yeah.
And like,
it's not even
awesome.
that, and it's just the nonchalance of just kill a couple to get your point across.
In the comic, he does give Mark a time frame of 100 years. He's like, we're going to be back in 100 years. We're going to send people to check for updates.
Okay.
To check your progress throughout then. But 100 years is your time you get. But here we didn't get that. He just said, we're coming back and you better get started because you can kill a couple to show how to like enforce this, or we're just going to come back and kill millions.
Yeah.
So
and that dude, what was it, General Krieg or whatever?
yeah, voiced by Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
He also
seemed
voiced
pretty
Damien Darkblood in the show.
Yeah.
And that happened, and then we got some Mauler twins.
The Mauler twins.
It's the guy from Shawshank Redemption, right? The voice you just mentioned.
Clancy Brown, was he from Shawshank?
Yeah, I think it is.
No, you're mixing him up with Krusty the Crab.
He's in a few things.
Yeah,
he's Shawshank cop.
He's just Mr. Krabs.
Yeah,
Clancy Brown is in everything.
He is the he's like the main prison guard in Shawshank.
Yeah, because I remember seeing his name and looking it up and being like, that's cool. He's still around doing voices.
He's also in Starship Troopers.
Yes, Drill Sergeant in Starship Troopers. Shout out.
So, and then we get some Mauler fun this episode.
Maulers were fun.
Love it.
Yeah.
I have a question to pose to you, Alex. So the Mauler twins, every time they clone themselves, could they not simply remember that they got in on the left?
That's what I think too. By the way, that's
not fun though.
That's my thing with the Mauler twins is that I always think, well, doesn't one know which bed he laid on?
Yeah. I have to imagine that they put some process into the brain transfer, which also muddles up their memory, so they're left and rights, so they don't remember that I laid down on the right side, so I'm definitely not the clone.
Definitely something that I do think about, but I kind of get over it pretty quickly.
I do love them addressing the fact of like, this is why this doesn't work. Like they can't know wholeheartedly and visually very clearly who the original was because it ruins the dynamic. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, we got a bit of a continuity maybe error here, but like where the Maulers say that they never knew this is the first time they've like known who the clone is. But back in season 1, they actually mentioned to Robot that we have to not know because it never turns out well when we know.
Yeah.
And which is what we saw. But it seems like it's definitely a problem they've addressed and had to address in the past.
They've definitely had to do it before.
Yeah.
So
great fun. Invincible's excellent.
Oh, Invincible's great.
Fantastic.
We got no more Angstrom these last 2 episodes, which is fine.
True.
In the comics, he disappears for a very long time too.
He's out there. He's going across universes. He's crazy.
Wonder what he's doing going across those universes.
Maybe he's defeating Mark in a different universe. We're just not seeing it.
Maybe he's going back and killing all the Marks. We don't know. Most of us don't know. One of us
knows.
Most of us
multiverse.
But that, and where was this rank among your Invincible eps? Because I really enjoyed this ep. I don't think it gets to the level that episode 8 in season 1 got to for me. I'm a sucker for emotion. If there's more, that I feel like that episode's more emotion, especially the what would you have after 5,000 years, and he says you dad. That fucking kills me every time I see that. But otherwise, I thought clearly these last 2 episodes of season 2 have been the best. 2 of the best episodes of Invincible, I'd say.
I think because of the emotion in this episode and the fight with the Viltrumites,
the level of like
close second to
the
season
level
1, episode 8.
Complex emotion in this one. Like, there's a lot going on in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Debbie,
end of the first one.
Read my book,
end of
smart.
season 1 is obviously like there's a lot of emotion, but like it's very clear cut, like how this emotion is and what's affecting it all. In this one, you're just constantly being berated with new shocking moments that and complex like things being brought up. Oh yeah. Oh, that shot. Look at that.
I'm a sucker for the slow montages with the music.
I love bearded Omni-Man too.
And I'm a sucker for Donald.
Yeah, bearded Omni-Man is great.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, the fight.
God damn. It was great.
It's and lastly, Omni-Man told Mark to read his books.
I like that.
Thought that was
I'm very
cool.
interested to see what
Read
the
my
fuck's
books,
going to be
Mark.
up with that.
Yeah, Debbie's throwing the books away though.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
that.
they're books. They'd be out there.
Notoriously, didn't sell well, these books.
Oh, really? Is
Yeah.
that the thing?
That's the thing. His I'm not sure if they're gonna follow it straight on with the comics, but in the comics, which this is fine. He's a travel novelist. He writes travel books, but he did do a stint as a sci-fi writer.
Okay.
And
I
notoriously
loved
failed.
the read my
That's
books,
funny.
Mark. I thought maybe he's trying to say like he knows that, you know, if there was any humanity in him, which is now coming out, he clearly might maybe put it into those books.
Yeah.
Because what kind of Viltrumite is sitting around writing novels on Earth? Like, if there was anything where he was, you know, stuck into this Earth life and really sucked in, it was probably in these books. Might be a little bit of human in him in those.
I think we covered it all.
yeah.
Definitely.
Debbie telling Cecil to fuck off, which was also great.
That was great. Love
Yep.
that. Go, Debbie.
We don't
Go,
need
Debbie.
your money.
Yeah. And Eve, no, I'm pretty sure we're good. Omni-Man's
That's
gone off
it.
to get executed, and that's where we've been left off with part 1.
Can I talk about a part 1 of something that is now on the hit media monopoly conglomerate that is Disney?
If we're talking about Disney, we'll give you one line.
Go
And
ahead.
I found this very interesting the other day, is that Disney had their most profitable year in 2019, and they've had their most least profitable year in 2023.
Woo!
And what happened in between them? Disney Plus and the pandemic, where Disney just released all their shit on streaming. So now essentially we just correlate Disney with their shitty streaming service stuff, which is why we're not going to see their movies.
Well, I also went to Disney World and Disney Sea, so I don't know if I somehow contributed. I don't know if I brought those values of those establishments down. It's possible.
Yeah, it could be the Chris factor. We never know. No, they have a new thing that at the time that I went to watch it, wasn't even featured in their like top banner, like new exciting check this out thing. Disney and the BBC have teamed up, and new Doctor Who is on Disney Plus. Now, Chris, I know you've done Doctor Who. Have you checked this out at all yet?
I have not seen. Now, is this David Tennant?
This is David Tennant. So we, as we had earlier in the year or late last year, I can't remember when it was. We had Jodie Whittaker, the 13th Doctor, regenerate, and surprise, surprise, she regenerated into David Tennant, and everyone was like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Big surprise.
He is not He's not the 10th Doctor. He is the 14th Doctor. He's back with the same face, and they haven't explained that yet. But we're getting 3 specials. So we have 3 specials with David Tennant, and then we're getting a Christmas special, which will be the first proper thing with Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor. I'm very, very excited for all of it. So the first one just came out. sort of setting in motion a couple of the mysteries of like trying to figure out why David Tennant's back, what's going on there. We get Catherine Tate as Donna Noble back, which is very
brilliant.
fun. Their dynamic is great. We've got what's her name? Yasmin Finney from Heartstopper. She's in here as Donna's daughter. And this Doctor Who is back in its purest, most openly progressive format ever. Russell T Davies is back show running, which Russell T Davies is the person who brought Doctor Who back to life back in the day.
With the famous Doctor from the North.
Yes,
Christopher Eccleston.
That's it, and all everything like that, which has been great. And then obviously, it was pretty good with Stephen Moffat running, and then everyone hated Chris Chibnall's running it, but he's gone now. So now we're back to Russell T Davies. David Tennant's back for 3 specials, and it's on Disney, which is nuts. And their budget is crazy. Like, it's still Doctor Who. Like, it doesn't look incredible, but that's the charm of Doctor Who. It's wacky as fuck. You get a silly, fluffy little alien that's voiced by Miriam Margolyes, who she's great, and that the Meep, which Michaela and I were watching it, and Michaela pointed out that the Meep is the name of the alien that rocks up in Phineas and Ferb, which, if anyone can remember that, so that was pretty funny that it just shares the same name as that. But it's super fun. It's super duper queer and progressive, and really, really openly staring down the camera saying trans lives matter, which is excellent. I'm here for it. I love it. David Tennant, excellent. We got a new TARDIS, new look for the TARDIS, and I love it. It is amazing. I'm very excited to see what they've got hidden away in there and what they're going to really pull out and do with it.
Now, did Jodie get a different TARDIS from Peter Capaldi?
Yes. Yes. So I didn't know this. I didn't know this until because I didn't get up to date in time. I am in the middle of watching Peter Capaldi. I'm gonna keep watching it, but like, I just watched a quick little recap so that I could be ready for the new stuff. And the great news is, you really don't have to have watched a recap. Honestly, it's probably better if you didn't, because from watching the recap, I learnt about why that people hate Chris Chibnall's run so much, and a moment that really, really was a real shit stain on Doctor Who. So we don't talk about that. But honestly, just go into it completely fresh. They give you a little explainer at the start, and you can just enjoy Doctor Who, and it's great fun. I'm very excited to see what they do next with the next 2 specials. Alex, you asked a question.
This is not about Doctor Who. Now,
okay, fair.
Great timing, Alex.
Sorry. Through most of that, if you're watching the video, you'd see me have a really confused or disgusted look on my face. And that was because, Braden, you mentioned very early on that it doesn't appear on the Disney Plus banner. So I went on to Disney Plus and I was just like, I wonder if it's there now. And they since added it. But then I clicked the next one over.
Okay.
And the next banner is for this mini-series called Faraway Downs. Now, I'm going to click the button to show you the screen and have a cold hard look at this. You tell me what the fuck this is. Ready?
Okay.
That looks like Australia.
They've turned Australia into a mini series on Disney Plus.
No. And they've just recut the movie?
I think I did some research while we're doing
this.
She looked a little different.
An expanded version of Baz Luhrmann's 2008 Australia film in the form of a mini series.
Why?
Dear God.
Because at first I clicked on it and I just went, oh, this must have been like a mini series that maybe Hugh Jackman was on in early Australia, like when he was first starting out. And then I look over to Nicole and I go, well, that's Nicole Kidman. And I went,
wait a second.
I know what these two have been in. I was thinking it might have had a Zootropolis treatment to it. Like, had a different name in certain countries or whatever. I've never liked Australia. No, I've thought it was very long.
Meh.
and Meh.
It was books level boring.
I'm oddly curious now to watch this miniseries.
Oh my god, Alex.
Alex, come on.
Alex,
can-
there's so many other things you could be watching.
Alex, watch Napoleon 2002, a great miniseries.
But like, what did they add? And what? Like, why? Who went? Hey, remember that failed Baz Luhrmann Australian movie where the only thing I remember from the movie is a fucking promo Hugh Jackman did where he says, I'm an Australian playing an Australian in a movie called Australia. This is the best thing ever.
Did it fail? I thought it increased tourism by some amount, maybe.
How much did it make? It might have. I might just being a bit of a dick to Australia. I don't remember anyone liking it.
Yeah, I don't remember anyone saying they enjoyed it.
It made worldwide. It made $211 million on a budget.
It was no Crocodile Dundee. Let's say that.
Nah, it didn't make. If we're going off, you have to double your budget to make money back. It didn't make money.
That's it. Well,
I also watched Saw X again. That's a fun movie.
it was a fun time.
A good movie. Good
Fun
one.
time.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back next
I lost
week
my
with
voice.
more. Sadly, no Invincible next week.
Fuck, are we gonna do?
Feel a gap in your hearts for that.
I'll
And,
come back with a full review of Faraway Downs.
Please.
Bless. No, I next week we should talk about Scott Pilgrim because I really want to get around to it. People saying it's really good.
Look, I can't make any promises. Faraway
that a
Downs
watch.
show is
Faraway Downs is calling your name now.
This
I
Far-
gotta give Doctor
I'll try
Who
and
a
give it a
watch.
watch.
the last
I've been waiting
episode.
for it.
Got to check out Doctor Who.
I just didn't realize it came out yet.
New
'Cause,
episodes
you know,
come out Sunday morning.
This
Disney
last-
Plus is showing me Faraway Downs, not showing me that Doctor Who's out.
Yeah, it is. Is this last episode? Faraway Downs, Chapter 6, Wars, 51 minutes long. So
That's too fucking long.
hey, there's another 5 episodes before that.
Oh, kill me.
How much footage did they have?
I don't know, but I'm gonna.
It's just intercut with like B-roll of landscapes.
yeah,
and
cows.
Moulin Rouge. I don't know. Like,
the entirety of Moulin Rouge is in the middle of the series.
What
What
got
about-
a bit of war scene in there, if I remember as well.
what about? Yeah, well, the last episode's titled War Christian, so
I think
it's titled.
that-
Sorry, it's titled War, not War
poster.
Christian.
I don't know if you can bring the Faraway Downs poster back up, but I think the Japanese made a little there in that poster. There's a few little planey wainies in the
Yeah.
corner
Yeah.
there.
Twenties.
They are. There they are.
The Japs.
The Japs.
No,
They're
'cause
coming.
now, stop, because now you're gonna get Chris to end up watching Faraway Downs.
Can we just say?
I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Can we just say?
Just watch the clip of the bombing on YouTube.
Okay, yep, you do that.
Can we just say which poster?
We're all friends now.
Which
Hey, they're there as well.
Which
They
post-
get
which-
they're
which
here.
poster do we like better? Faraway Downs or Australia?
Australia, I
both look-
think.
They both look so
Neither.
boring.
This one looks like a 2023 show.
It does look more. It's more TV show like. One is certainly a movie and one is a TV show. The
Where
way
did
that
they-
Nicole Kidman
they
and
just-
Hugh Jackman are pictured.
Is this AI? Because this kid's much older now. And he's
This is
perfectly
like-
shot.
Yeah, we're a family and we run a ranch. And the other one's like, this is a romance
This
film.
does look like Australian Yellowstone. You're right.
Yes, yeah.
Oh wow, yeah,
They
you're
look
right.
like ranches. They look like they own the ranch.
A Baz
Also,
Luhrmann film told in 6 chapters.
Why can't they stop with the floating heads posters?
The only
This is
thing
the
you really
famous-
own is your story. Try to live a good one.
So
Oh,
sick
God.
of floating head posters. Okay,
Did this
that's
have a
been an
tagline? It
episode
didn't.
of
Yeah, let's not talk about
MMT
the posters.
Millennial Movie Talk.
Cowards.
Episode 228. Thank you so much for joining us. If you can, leave a review. Follow us on whatever you're on.
Are you
Subscribe
gonna
on
watch
YouTube.
Faraway Downs? Let us know.
Please don't go watch Faraway Downs.
Please
Go watch
let us
Doctor
know.
Who. Check out, if you've never watched Doctor Who before, check it out. It's a wild time if you've
It
never
is.
watched it before. It's
You know
very
what
fun
else is
and
a
very
wild time?
enjoyable.
Baz Luhrmann movie split into 6 chapters.
It is.
And, God, as always,
I'm Alex.
I'm Brayden.
I'm Christian and fuck you, Ridley Scott.
And I'm Michael.
Watch Faraway Downs. We're out of here.